Students, and welcome to today's live IELTS class. My name is Adrian and I'm broadcasting to you from beautiful Central Europe. I hope everybody is doing fantastic on this Friday. Hi Pachu, some good advice there at the beginning of class. Hi Kyber, hope you're doing great as well. Good to see you in class. Today, students, IELTS Speaking Part 3 for the speaking section. Speaking section has 3 parts. Part 3 is the final part, and we will talk about that today. All right, our materials, as always, coming from our websites, aehelp.com for the academic version of the exam, and gieltshelp.com for the general version of the test. You can download our app from your Play or iTunes store. Just search for Academic English Help. Hi Kareem, hi Baljit and Begzad, good to see you in this class as well, and hello all you other beautiful students joining in. Again, those websites, they look like this. This is our academic website. Click that red button to join this site. And for general IELTS, green background, click that red button to join there. Hi, Amardeep. Good to see you in class. Hi, Preeti. Some of our members I'm giving a shout out to. All right. If you have questions, send me an email. My email is adrian@aehelp.com. These live classes, they are Wednesday to Saturday, Central European time, 13:30 to 14:30 for members, and 15 to 16 o'clock, where everybody can chat. Today, again, speaking part 3. Tomorrow, members, speaking part 2, and then we will have a listening exam for everyone. All right, let's start. Some speaking. So speaking section, roughly 15 minutes. You arrive about an hour early to get there. Make sure you're using English all day before your speaking interview. Remember, when you walk in, stay calm. Don't be nervous. It's another day, another dollar. It's not the last day in your life. You will be fine. The sun will shine tomorrow. So just take a couple of deep breaths. Okay, remember, you speak English. Just do your best. Hi, Paula. Hi, Harminder. Hi, Sana. Hi, Gagan Verk. I'm doing great. Thank you for asking. All right. So, how is this font size? Can you see that? Maybe it's a little bit on the small side. I can make it a little bit bigger here. Just give me one moment. Not a problem. Thinking that's a little bit small for some of you, especially if you're using your phone. So we'll make it size 16. There. That should read better. All right. So here we go. Speaking. Just a little bit of warm up before we get into the more difficult speaking part 3 questions, and I'll talk a little bit of strategy as well. When you walk into the exam, the first question that you will hear after hello, please have a seat is, may I see your identification, please? Give me an answer. Please do not just sit there quietly and hand your passport or your ID. That will signal that either A, you're very nervous, B, you're lacking English speaking skills, or C, both A and B. Okay, so don't just sit there quietly, respond to that. Okay. Kyber says, certainly, please have a look. Kyber, that's good. Make sure to practice it. Get it out with nice intonation. Begzad says, yes, sure, here you are. Karl Drogo, yes, sure, please take a look. We don't just say yes, sure, please. That's kind of weird. In English, it's awkward to just end on the word please. Please what? Please have a look. Please take a look. Please do something. But it's weird to just say please. So don't end with the word please. We only use that if we're asking for something, Drago. So if I say like, please, can I have it? Then we say please like that, but not when we're responding, okay? All right, here you are is okay. Yes, sure, here it is. Harmanjeet, yes, sure, it is here is not correct. Yes, sure, here it is correct. Okay, here it is correct. Natasha Gula says, sure, please take a look. Yes, with a good comma, Natasha, after the word. Sure. Karim, keeping it simple, certainly. Certainly is even better than nothing, okay? So don't just stay quiet. Great, so there are lots of different ways. Definitely. Please. Here it is. Please take a look. Okay. That's kind of natural. Now, this is speaking, students. I know that you can hear me speak. I unfortunately cannot hear you speak, and I'm sure if I heard 100 people speaking at once, it might be a little bit tricky to conduct this class, but I really, really want to imagine that you are saying what I am saying at home, okay? So repeat what you hear. This is a speaking class. So speak with me, okay? Repeat what I say. I always remind you of that. Repeat my intonation, my enunciation, my pronunciation. Okay, so repeat me as precisely as you can, all right? Shivani, off-topic question, send me an email and I'll answer it for you, okay? All right, so here is my answer to this first question. Definitely. Here it is. Please take a look. Okay? One more time. Just repeat me. Definitely. Here it is. Please take a look. All right. Then comes the next question, because they're looking at your passport and they're looking at your picture and they're looking at your face and they're looking at your picture. Some of you that have done the exam, you probably know what I'm talking about. The examiner goes like this. They're just making sure that you are you and it's not a doppelganger sitting the exam instead of you, okay? Doppelganger means a look-alike, somebody that looks like you. It does happen. And then comes the next question. They match your picture with your face and they also match your name with what you say. What is your full name? What is your full name? Okay? Be ready with a very nice, clear answer for that one. Okay? Begzad says, my given name is Begzad and my surname is Suyanov. Please just call me Begzad. Begzad, that's great. Just get it out fast. Make sure they don't interrupt you thinking that you're trying to be all fancy. Just get it out quick. My given name is Begzad. My surname is Suyanov. Please just call me Begzad. You're on your way to band 9, Begzad. Nabaraja says, my name is Nabaraja. You can call me Nabaraja. Yes, do give your full name. I know some people have just one name, and that's okay if that's your whole name, but you should say your first and last name, your given name and your family name. Okay? Mariko says, my name is Mariko. Mariko is my first name. And I don't know what your last name is, Mariko, because the characters are not shown in the chat. So please call me Mariko. Okay. Sana Sohail says, my name is Sana. My surname is Sohail. Just call me Sana. You can call me Sana. It's okay, Sana. Just call me Sana is a little bit more natural. It's a little bit polite, more polite, especially when you're talking to a senior or a superior. Paula Dennis says, my full name is Paula Maria Lopez Dennis. Please just call me Paula. Not it's. Okay, that's weird, Paula. My full name is, not it's. Okay, my full name is. All right. Sure. Let's move it along. I want to get to lots of part 3 questions today so you can get a high band score. So what is your full name? My entire name. You can use this one, Paula, because you have 4 names. So you can say my entire name is. Paula, I'm going to take yours there because you have, if you should use entire if you have 3 or more. Okay, if you have a middle name, then you can use this. If you have just 2 names, then say full name. Okay, Paula Maria Lopez Dennis. Please just call me Paula. Okay, So my entire name is Paula Maria Lopez Dinas. Please just call me Paula. Okay. All right. And then will come probably one more of these icebreaker questions to make you feel a little bit more comfortable in the exam. And these are just very general questions that should be answered by any person. Or any person should be able to answer. Where did you grow up? Could be the question that they ask you for the next one. Okay, so Paula, where did you grow up? Okay, especially if you are taking the exam in another country, like let's say you're from Pakistan and you're taking the exam in the United Kingdom, then the icebreaker question could very well be, where did you grow up? Okay. So especially if it's out of country where you are with the exam, it could be, where did you grow up? Okay. Amrit Bogan says, I grew up in a small town in Punjab. What's the name of the small town, Amrit? Give me that. So I grew up in a small town called something in Punjab. So don't just leave me hanging, because if I'm your listener, I'm kind of like, what small town, right? It's my natural question. Begzad says, I was born in the city of Samarkand, which is located in the west of Uzbekistan, and grew up there until the age of 16. That's a beautiful answer, Begzad. It's nice, it's complete, it doesn't leave me wondering about the details, okay? Preeti says, I grew up in the western Indian state of Rajasthan. Preeti, one more time. Careful with your word order. I grew up in the western Indian state of Udaipur in the city of Rajasthan. Or I grew up in the western Indian state of Rajasthan in the city of Udaipur. It is a very popular tourist destination. That might be a little bit too much information, that second sentence, Preeti. Okay. Farhan says, I was born and bred in a small town, Syednagar, until 2010 when we shifted to Lahore, a metropolitan city in Pakistan. Farhan, careful with comedy in the speaking. It might not be well received. I just caution you that some student actually asked me that yesterday. Is it okay to make a joke or to say something funny so the situation is comfortable with the examiner? You have to be careful. Pay attention to the examiner. If the examiner looks like they're easygoing, they might be open to a joke or like a slight humor, then okay. But if they have like this really snobby kind of like staring at you like, okay, you're here to do a job and I'm super serious, I probably wouldn't pass a joke off. It probably won't go over well for you. Okay, so careful with how you do that, all right? Okay, so careful with jokes. Seriously, guys, girls, careful with jokes. Okay, all right. So there is some Chinese characters that I cannot read there. I was born in Osaka, but spent most of my infancy in North Carolina, U.S. So my most favorite food is bagel filled with a bunch of peanut butter and cream cheese. Yes, but I didn't ask you about that. So I was born in Osaka, but spent most of my infancy in North Carolina. That's good. Okay, you don't have to say U.S. Most examiners will know that North Carolina is the U.S., so you don't even have to add that part. All right? Okay, so I grew up in the beautiful garden city of Victoria, which is the capital city or the capital of British Columbia, the most western province of Canada. Okay, this is true. I did grow up there. I'm very fortunate. And if you ever have the chance, definitely visit us there. It's a beautiful place. I grew up in the beautiful garden city of Victoria, which is the capital of British Columbia, the most western province of Canada. Nice round answer. I'm explaining the city. I've even included what it's famous for, the location geographically, the country, and the province all in one go. So that's what you want to do to kick off a Band 9 level speaking. Okay. And then the examiner will ask you some more questions on a general topic, something about hobbies, flowers, cooking, food, movies. So an easy topic that most students can understand and respond to. That will be about 5-6 questions. After that comes part 2, which is a cue card. You get a card. It has 4-5 questions. You need to think about your answer for a minute, take notes, answer it. And then after you speak for about 2 minutes, the examiner will stop you. You're roughly 7-8 minutes into the speaking, and then comes part 3. And for part 3, the examiner will say, okay, that is the end of part 2. Now we will begin part 3. For part 3, I will ask you some more questions related to the topic of part 2. And then they will begin. Okay? Give complete answers. Reflect the question. Let's try a couple, and then I'll give you some strategy as we go along, okay? And by the way, if I missed some of your answers, don't worry about it. Just keep going. I'll answer you, or I'll catch your comments later on. I'm thinking of All Information Nepal, Husamadin Turkey, Tina. Okay, so don't be shy. Keep commenting. Okay, so the examiner for part 3 will say, let's talk about creativity. And this is where a lot of students might go, creativity? I don't even want to talk about creativity in my own language, yet alone in English. Don't do that, okay? Please don't panic if you hear the topic of part 3, okay? No matter what it is, all right? Don't assume right away that you can't talk about it. That's a really bad mental place to be, all right? Be optimistic. These questions aren't meant to be a thesis defense in university. It's not a PhD level exam, okay? So just chill, okay? Just relax, all right? Let's talk about creativity. What words do you think about when you think word creativity? Okay? So what words come to mind? If I say the word creativity, you say the words what? Let's play this association. All right. Art, invention, imagination. Those are some nice words. Paula, Jessica, cigar, intelligence, artist. Sure, artistic. Cigar, very good. Carving. Yosef, ingenious. Patricio, design. Okay. Farhan, breaking the status quo. Pachu, craftsmanship. Hosimedin, Turkey, handicraft. Yeah, those are all great words, okay? So, imagination. Okay, art. Problem solving. How about that one? Painting. Artist. Colors. Abstract. Right? Those are all words that are coming into mind. So again, students, instead of panicking when you hear this word, let's talk about creativity. Instead of doing that, immediately think, okay, what do I think of when I think of creativity? I think of colors. I think of artists. I think of music. I think of paintings. I think of innovation, science, technology, okay? So all of those things, sports even. Amarjeet Singh says, sure, why not be creative in sports? Khyber says, genius. Absolutely. Yeah, so the first basketball player to throw a hook shot, right? Getting creative. A writer, Tina, very good. Books, absolutely, okay? So that's what you should be focused on. So don't think about what you can't do. think about what you can do, all right? Think about what you can do. You should never be focused on what you cannot do when you're writing an exam. That's just absolutely the worst way to approach your test, okay? So, all right, fantastic. Let's get right into it. The examiner will say, what kinds of professions require people to be creative? Okay, give me a nice answer for that. So give me a nice answer for the question, what kinds of professions require people to be creative? And please give me a full sentence answer. So Jessica, painter is a good start. A musical artist. Amanpreet, careful. If you don't know the perfect English, it's a musical artist, then say musician or say singer. But careful not to use poor English like music artist. Music artist is, well, it's okay. Actually, now that I said it, Amanpreet, it's okay, but it's a musical artist is better, okay? Full sentences, students. Marina, good to see you in class. Marina Mint says, you don't need a profession for that if you are really talented. But Marina, that's not what I'm asking you. I'm asking you what kinds of professions do require people to be creative. So don't answer off topic. All right. Sana Sohail says, I think there's a plethora of professions that need imagination and creativity. Photography is a profession that requires a lot of creativity. Sana, you have the right idea, but just a couple of important corrections or upgrades to get a higher band score. I think there's a plethora of, instead of professions, paraphrase that, okay? I think there's a plethora of careers, okay, or endeavors that need imagination. Don't use the word your, Sana, okay? Don't use the word you or your in your responses. And if you say plethora, then you should name at least a couple, okay? If you only want to say photography, then you shouldn't say plethora. So, Sana, it would sound much better like this. I think there's a plethora of careers that require imagination and creativity. These include photography, movie writing or movie making, as well as painting, okay? So something like that, Sana. So include several if you say plethora. All right, Begzad says, I believe that almost all jobs demand creativity as having imaginative skills provides innovation. Begzad, that's a good approach as well. Absolutely, that's clever. And give me a smooth flowing example, Begzad. So I believe that most jobs demand creativity as having imaginative skills always provides innovation. Like an engineer might come up with a creative way to control a vehicle, make it self-driving with artificial intelligence, right, Begzad? All right, but the idea is good. Okay, the idea is good. Prabnur Kaur says, every profession in itself needs creativity. This depends on the employee. For instance, an artist who uses their creative skills for creating beautiful paintings. Prabnur, I made a few corrections there in real time, so notice those. Yosef says, careers must be creative like teachers, actors, and musicians. I think that because they need to lure the attention of the audiences. Yosef, I don't know if there's a hidden message there, but hey, I think you might be referring somewhat to me. But you're right, okay? I don't want to be egocentric. You're right. Teachers, definitely, to capture the interest of students, for sure. It's very tricky, believe it or not. All right, so I'll grab one of those, kind of adapt it to an answer. So what kinds of professions require people to be creative? Well, certainly, I do believe that most, if not all, jobs demand some level of creative ability. Ones that are especially noteworthy include fine arts like painting, acting, and singing. Okay, so here's my answer. Repeat after me. Again, students, repeat. These are some nice natural expressions that I'm teaching you. So repeat after me. Well, certainly, I do believe that most, if not all, jobs demand some level of creative ability. Ones that are especially noteworthy include fine arts like painting, acting, and singing. Okay, good. Now comes the follow-up question. So why? Can you give examples? Okay, so part 3 will contain these follow-up questions. Okay, so be ready for them. So when you give an answer, really be ready that you may be interrupted, and if not interrupted, then still the follow-up question will come quite quickly. Okay, so why? Can you give examples? Okay, so be ready for that. So take my answer. Okay, so ones that are especially noteworthy include fine arts like painting, acting, and singing. Why? Can you give examples? Immediately, you should be thinking, okay, really, why? Why do these require creativity? And what is an example of this? Okay, if you can't think of it right away, buy some time with an expression. Sure, just give me a moment to come up with a good example, please. Okay, so you can start it off like this, especially for a follow-up question, because you might not be ready for it, right? You don't have the ideas in the front of your mind. So sure, just give me a moment to come up with a good example, please. Ask for some time. It's totally okay, totally natural. Tina says, well, that's an interesting question. I think it depends on how much children know about different abilities from their childhood to open up their talents. Generally, some professions need more creativity to grow up. Mikhail. For instance, many people who are successful in their jobs, like Yanni, who is a perfect pianist, have played the piano from the age of 2 or 3. Tina, I think you're a little bit off mark. Okay. And I see that the chat slowed up a bit, so it means that you're being caught a little bit off guard and you're thinking about this answer. Use your visual skills, right? So why does a painter need to be creative? Why does an artist need to be creative? Sometimes the best way to answer the question is to ask yourself a question in your mind. And this is my tip and strategy number 1 for today. And I'm going to embed it into the lesson. Okay, so strategy 1, come up with good answers by asking good questions. Okay, so the example here is, why does a painter or a musician need to be creative? And then the second question that I would ask is, who is a good example of this? Now, you should practice this doing this in your mind in English before you sit the exam. Okay, so it's difficult if you don't keep your mind in English, if you keep switching between your own language and English. So I highly suggest, can everybody see it with that color, with the green? Hopefully you can. Let me just check that in my feedback. So you shouldn't be asking this question in your mind in your own language, but you should be asking that in English, okay? That definitely shows a higher level of ability. Is that clear? Is it clear what I'm giving you as a strategy here? I want to make sure that I'm not confusing you, all right? Kilola says, because they don't work with direct subjects such as math teachers, they create their art by themselves. Kiloa, that's still a little bit of an awkward answer. Okay, so I'm still looking for some good answers here. So these are the questions in my mind. Kyber says it makes sense. Does it make sense to everybody else? Yeah, Marina, and that will come with practice. Okay. All right. So this is what happens in my brain. Let me try to give you some of my own thinking or my own analytic thinking here. So if somebody asks me this question, then I would ask myself, okay, why does a painter or a musician need to be creative? Well, because at the end of the day, they want to create something beautiful and original that's entertaining for the public, right? So they want people to look at the painting or listen to their music and say, wow, that's creative, that's original, that's unique, that's beautiful. That's why they need to be creative, right? So that they are recognized as being amazing. Now, who is a good example of this? Immediately, people that come to mind for me are Picasso. If we look at Pablo Picasso's paintings, the very famous French painter, Pablo Picasso has a very unique style of painting. Jackson Pollock, the very famous abstract painter, is a good example of this. Musicians like Cher, for example, or even some rap singers like Snoop Dogg are very creative, right? Because they are creative, they're recognized, it's unique, it's not guaranteed. So that would be the right answer, okay? And to do that, I buy a little bit of time so I can say, sure, just give me a moment to come up with a good example, please, okay? And then I think about these questions, okay? And then I can say in my response, and here's a good band 9 level response, well, artists need to be creative in order to produce original works of art that are considered unique and beautiful. An excellent example of this is the French painter Picasso. Can't spell his name, I can say it. And that will answer the question at a band 9 level. Okay? So now, and of course it can be someone from your own culture as long as you're able to produce these thoughts. So now, here's my tip number 2. Okay? You're saying, well, Adrian, that's fine and all, but it's tough to develop that kind of thinking. It's hard to do that, especially in another language, especially to do it quickly. So how to do it? Thank you. Paula says Picasso is Spanish. My mistake. I'm not that familiar with Picasso, Paula. I thought he was French. But if he's Spanish, he is. Anyhow, I'll do that correction. I believe you, Paula, since I know you're Spanish, so you'd know better than me. Okay? Yeah, Pablo, of course, Pablo Picasso. Yeah, that makes sense. Pablo Picasso. I think he did most of his painting in France, but maybe he's originally Spanish, right, Paula? Anyhow, another important point there, Paula, so other than us carrying this dialogue, is students, even if you say French painter Pablo Picasso, you won't lose marks for not knowing his nationality. The IELTS doesn't care whether you are accurate or inaccurate with the idea of Spanish or French. They care about the quality of your answer. They don't care about the truth in your answer, okay? All right. So to go back to what I was saying, if you're having trouble thinking about the right response with this strategy, you can approach it another way, okay? There is another way, and you should practice both at home before you sit the exam. So here is strategy 1B, okay? So come up with a good answer by thinking of a good example. Okay, so if I want to be really technical, this is called top-down processing. This is called down-up processing, but you don't need to worry about that unless you're looking to major in education psychology. So here, instead of thinking about the question, okay, so why does a painter or a musician need to be creative, I can think about an example and then think about the reason. So have a look at this, okay? So who is a creative painter? And then hopefully I can think of someone, or a creative musician. Some of you are probably thinking, I don't know that much about painters. Well, it's fine. Just think of a musician. So who is a creative painter? Then you come up with the answer Picasso. And then you can come up with the next question of why is he considered creative? And then you can come up with the answer of he paints unique pictures with an original style. So he made lots of money and is famous, okay? And then you can create your answer, okay? So that is how you can come up with that, all right? That's what you need to focus on. So notice these two strategies. They're very effective in your thinking, and you can use this not just for the speaking, but also in your writing, okay? It's called top-down processing and down-up processing. Down-up is when you think of the example and you think of reasons why that example is what it is. Does that make sense, students? So are you picking up what I'm putting down? Do you understand the value of this kind of thinking when you're being asked some difficult questions in Part 3 speaking? You could, Kilola, you could talk about philosophers as well. Okay, so Farhan says, sure, top down and down up. So think about the general to the specific, or think about the specific to the general. Absolutely. Okay, it's a very effective critical thinking tool. All right, students, so let's go on to some other questions now and adapt this thinking style. So the next question for speaking part 3, where are common places for people to see the creativity of others? Okay. So where are common places for people to see the creativity of others? Okay, and I'm glad that most of you, it seems like most of you are picking up what I'm putting down, so most of you understood that strategy. It's great. Make sure to answer me in full sentences, okay? Kyber says, I must say that the best place to see the creativity of people is at live concerts for singers. Just 2 months ago, at Tamayun Agnat, singer sung a song live, not on record, and it was very impressive. Okay, Kyber, it's good. Just careful with your grammar. Mariko says, at university. Mariko, university is a good place, but you cannot get a high band score in the speaking with single word answers. You have to give me full sentence answers. Lanthiu says, absolutely the most common destination to see creativity and works of art are in museums. Very good, Lanthiu. Yeah, sure. Okay. So, Lanthiu says, without a doubt, okay, I'm going to paraphrase you a little bit, Lan. Without a doubt, one of the best places or venues to experience the creative genius of people is at a museum. In fact, I had the pleasure of seeing Picasso's artworks in the National Art Museum of Budapest about 5 years ago. Okay, so remember those smooth flowing examples. If you're going to say museum, then maybe include a little piece of information about some creative artwork that you saw at a museum recently. Or as Kyber did, talk about a musician that you heard at a concert recently. That's brilliant also. Okay. So I'm going to read a couple responses. Dr. Swetha Parthasarthi says, I would like to say exhibitions or concerts where people pour their creative ideas and new techniques in various aspects. And of course, it's important to visit those places during to bring out our inner talents. Okay, Dr. Swetha, you're jumping a little bit ahead. That's the follow-up question. You wouldn't see that yet. So you wouldn't hear that until you answered this one. But you did give a good answer. Okay. Patricio Lordela says, some places where people can see the creativity of others are museums and concerts. Just last week, I went to the Argentine theater where I found many sculptures of Ron Mueck. Patricio, brilliant. Okay, very good. Nice, clear answer. Smooth flowing example will get you a high mark. Trushang says, as per my perspective, that's a bit awkward, Trushang. In my perspective is a little bit better. Okay, it's more natural. So Trushang, in my perspective, the best place to see creativity is a circus show, because there are a number of different artists and animals performing exquisite skills to entertain people. Trushang, beautiful answer. Circus. Circus is definitely a place to see creativity of various types and forms. It's a very good answer, Trushang. Smart thinking. Very visual. Trushang, I bet you're a very visual person. You see the world around you even when you hear it or read it. Okay, it's great. Preeti says, well, there is many great places where individuals can see creativity, like on a stage, in a museum, and historical structures. For instance, last month I visited the Taj Mahal and saw the creative beauty of the architects and artists of generations past. Preeti, notice my real-time correction there of your sentence as an example. Okay? All right, and then comes the follow-up question. Is it important to visit such places? Okay. Is it important to visit such places? So is it important to visit places where you can see the creativity of others? Give me a good answer. This is where you can use that down up and up down type of processing. So specific to general, general to specific. So is it important to frequent a place where we can observe the creativity of others? Anatoly says yes. Why, Anatoly? Give me a full sentence answer. Marina says yes, it's better to see the real performances. Marina, that's okay to go into details, but do give me an explanation of why. Okay. Nikhil says, yes, it's important to visit such places, but why? Always answer the why question, students. Always answer the why question. Okay? You have to get that in there. You have to get that in there. Why? Why is it important to visit them? Begzod says, while going to these places, you can't say above mentioned, Begzod, because you're not looking at the paper. Okay, don't refer to the location of questions on the paper. In the real exam, you wouldn't do that. So, while going to these places has considerable cultural impact on every nation as it keeps the value of arts, sure, that's partially true. I don't think that's the number one or number two answer, but yes, it's part of it. Farhan says, definitely, it's vital to visit art galleries as it helps to refresh aesthetics, and it breaks the monotony of the hectic daily routine and takes me into a different world. Farhan, in part 3, usually the examiners don't want you to talk about yourself. It's not the end of the world, but they want you to speak in third person, general voice. And also, Farhan, you're overcomplicating a very simple idea. Okay, I'm looking for the simple, clear answer here, and I haven't seen it yet. Maybe somebody's written it, but I haven't seen it yet. Marco Somaruga says, visiting these kinds of places can be important because they can inspire people. That's right. They're sources of inspiration. Sevgi says, certainly, I think it is significant. One of the reasons could be to be inspired and experience these artworks. Right. Absolutely. So inspiration and entertainment, that's why these artists are doing this for the most part, is to inspire and entertain. Okay. Practice that up, down, up processing. Okay. Indeed, I strongly believe that it is critical for people to frequent places that exhibit creativity, not only to entertain, but also to inspire. Okay? And Farhan, if we want to go personal, you might throw something in like this if you can do a smooth flowing example. In fact, I picked up oil painting after seeing a Van Gogh exhibit. Now there's a French artist for you, Van Gogh. All right, even if I didn't nail it with Picasso, Van Gogh, or Van Gogh's got to be French, yeah. All right. So that would be a good answer for this. So indeed, I strongly believe, repeat, students, repeat after me, okay? So indeed, I strongly believe that it is critical for people to frequent places that exhibit creativity, not only to entertain, but also to inspire. In fact, I picked up oil painting after seeing a Van Gogh exhibit. Okay? All right. How can people improve their imagination? If I didn't catch you, it's okay. I'll get you on this next one. So how can people improve their imagination. Kilola, the definition of indeed is certainly or surely in this context. Surely or certainly. So how can people improve their imagination? Pachu says people can improve their imagination in many ways, such as drawing and writing. Pachu, that's great. I like it. It's simple. It's to the point. It's clear. Okay. Dr. Swetha says people could improve their imagination by constant support and encouragement from others. What do you mean? So definitely you'd be hearing this next question. Can you elaborate? Because that's not totally clear. Marina corrects me and says Van Gogh is from the Netherlands. All right. Amrit says there is no end to any form of creativity. I reckon that it takes time and effort to become better. Yeah, Amrit, that's a clever answer. So time and effort, of course, to improve in creativity requires the same as to improve in just about any domain of activity, which is time and effort. Okay. Anatoly says work on imagination and visualization. Okay. Amina Mimo says by thinking out of the box. What do you mean by that? So it means to think of unique ways of approaching situations, sure, but what does that mean? Aigul says by reading, sure. Full sentence, please, Aigul. Okay, so there are several ways to enhance. Always try to paraphrase words from the question. The question says improve. Use the word enhance. Okay? If you don't know it, now you do. So there are several ways to enhance one's imaginative side. It is important to give effort and practice regularly such skills as visualization. Also, reading and learning from other masters can help. Okay? So something like that. All right? And then comes the follow-up question. Can you elaborate? This is a favorite question for IELTS examiners for part 3. Can you elaborate simply just means, can you give more details? So can you give more details? Okay. All right, meanwhile, I will read a few of the comments by students. So Bagzad says, as I previously said, going to places like museums or drawing pictures can definitely enhance an individual's creative skills, as every time they try to imagine the picture using their brains. Bagzad, beautiful. I was waiting for someone to make that connection among the answers, and I'm really happy that you did that. So as I previously said, going to places like museums or drawing pictures can really enhance individuals' creative skills. Brilliant, Bagzad. Good job. All right, Chu Shang says, first and foremost, one needs to identify their talents, and then that person needs to work on that ability to enhance their critical thinking. Chu Shang, that's a good answer. Instead of special skills, the word talents is more accurate. You get a better score for using that. Okay. Mariko says there are not only one ways to improve imagination skills. For example, through trial and error. Trial and error, that's great. Margarita Salida says, there's an assortment of activities someone can do to better his or her imagination. For instance, engaging in activities such as reading books and drawing. Okay, yeah, don't use the word things. Use the word activities or tasks instead. Always avoid the word things. Okay? All right. Can you elaborate? Dr. Sweta says, for instance, many people in India have been purchasing paintings created by natives. Even the government has come out with many initiative ideas to support their traditions. Very good, Dr. Sweta. Just remember, plural is many people in India have, because it's many people, not has. Make sure that matches, okay? Certainly, by what I had mentioned previously, going to art galleries and observing masters like Picasso and Van Gogh can help spark or inspire creativity. Okay, so somewhat in line with what you just did, Begzod, referring to what I previously mentioned. Certainly, by what I had mentioned previously, going to art galleries and observing masters like Picasso and Van Gogh can help spark or inspire creativity. Okay. All right. Reading, absolutely. So some good answers are coming up there. And then if you're doing a good job in part 3, you have good fluency, you're moving along nice and smooth with the examiner's questions. They usually have some more ready. And this is still related to the topic of part 2. Let's talk about problem solving. So what are common problems around the world that are challenging people to come up with solutions? What kinds of solutions have been suggested to these problems? Which skills are necessary for effective problem solving? Do these skills always help? If you could solve one problem in the world today, what would it be? Why? I'm going to leave these questions for you to do for homework. This video will be available on our channel, so you can come back and check for it. Okay? Preeti, global warming, it's a good start. A lot of you have that. This is your homework. Record it as an MP3 on your phone. Send it to me as an MP3 recording, and I will give you a score estimate. Okay? So I will give you a score estimate based on what I hear. Again, students, remember, you can approach questions with different kinds of creative thinking, specific to general, general to specific. For lots of great speaking strategies, definitely visit us at aehelp.com for academic IELTS, and for the general version of the exam, gieltshelp.com. Those websites look like this. Green background, click that red button. Blue background for the academic, click that red button. Have a fantastic rest of your day. Tomorrow, members chat class will be speaking part 2, followed by an everyone chat class, which will be listening strategy. Keep up the good work. Have a great rest of your day. Hopefully see you tomorrow. Bye for now.